So the problem statement is something like this. A reciprocating compressor has a cylinder with a bore, cylinder with a 240 mm bore and 360 mm stroke. The compressor admits air at 1 bar and 17 degrees Celsius and compresses it to 6 bar. The compressor runs at 120 rpm. Consider the compressor to be single stage and single acting. Determine the mean effective pressure and the power required to run the compressor following the isothermal process. Okay, and polytropic process with an index of 1.3. So here I do have two cases. One is I am going to follow the isothermal process, then I am going to follow the polytropic process. For both the conditions, we will try to check and we will try to verify for which one I am going to get the more power actually. So let's try to solve this solution. So let's try to write the data. So data is actually the bore diameter. We call it as D. It is 240 mm or 0.24 meters. The stroke length is 300 mm or 0.3 meters. Okay, and the compressor admits the bar, that is P1 is equal to 1 bar and T1 is equal to 17 plus 273. So it is 290 Kelvin. 290 Kelvin. So then, so the compressor runs at the speed 120 rpm, N is equal to 120 rpm. So it's a single stage and single acting. So what you are supposed to find? We are supposed to find the mean effective pressure and the power required. Okay. The first one is P mean effective, whatever it may be, and second one is the power required. So there are two cases. So the case one is isothermal and the case two is polytropic. Then we'll try to compare and see. So what is your compression ratio? See, if you try to look at what is your compression ratio, it is a ratio of P2 by P1. Okay, we'll try to look into those things and all. Okay. Now let us try to draw the your PV diagram here. So let's try to draw the PV diagram. This is my PV diagram. So here I don't have any clearance volume and all. So I'll be going according to the process. So this is one. I'm going to change the color actually. So if suppose this is my isothermal process, that is a blue color one. Okay. So this is my isothermal process. This is PV to the power of CPV is equal to constant. This is 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay. Now, if I follow a polytropic process, so I'll be doing more amount of work. So I'll be doing something like this. Okay. So this is according to PV to the power of N is equal to constant. So okay. So if I call this as maybe if I call this as 2, that is your actual work. So 2 dash I will call it as 1 to 2 dash I will call it isothermal. Now what I need to do here actually, I need to see if I execute isothermal process, I will be doing less amount of work. Already we have studied actually. So now I need to find the work done for both the cases. So the case 1 is actually it is isothermal and the case 2 is actually it is the polytropic process. So we will try to do both actually. First let's start. So case 1 it is isothermal process or compression. It is isothermal compression process. Okay, now let's try to find one by one. The stroke volume. Okay, the stroke volume is equal to your area into L. That is area of the cylinder into L. That is pi by 4 into T square into L. That is pi by 4 into 0.24 square into L is 0.3. I am getting around 0.016 3. 28 means 163 meter cube. Okay. Next, volume of the air compressed per minute. Okay. So if you want to look into that actually, what is the volume of the air that is compressed per minute? Just multiplied by the speed. If I do that, I'll be getting that. So volume of the air compressed per minute, volume of the air that is delivered. Okay. So if I want to look into that, I will be multiplying by n. So that will be the volume of air compressed per minute. So which will be equal to Vs into n, that is 0.0168 into 120. So I'm getting around 1.954 meter cube per minute. Okay. Now here in this particular problem, my Vc is equal to 0 because there is no clearance volume. So for that condition, work done in isothermal process, work done is given by, okay, work done is given by this equation. What it is actually, already we have derived it. It's a ratio. It is, let me call it as ISO, means isothermal. So P1 V1 into ln of, okay, ln of, I can go with two options. Either I can go with V1 by V2 or P1 V1 ln of, either I can go with P2 by P1. So both the formulas we have derived in the, maybe in your basic thermodynamics class, okay, or maybe at the beginning of this particular course. I have shown this. Now let us try to substitute all those things actually. What is it actually? Your P1 is actually how much it is actually? So P1 I don't know, so V1 I need to find. So I know, see, V1 is equal to, okay, so we know this equation, that is P1 V1 is equal to MRT1. Anyhow, M is equal to 1 kg. So if I assume M is equal to 1 kg, so here I am going to assume M is equal to 1 kg. So therefore, your V1 is equal to M into R into T1 by P1. So R is equal to 0.287, okay. V1 is equal to 1 into 0.287 into 10 to the power of 3 into T1 is 290, and your P1 is actually, it is 1 bar. So 1 into 10 to the power of 5, if I do, I am going to get my V1, okay. It's 7 into 290 divided by 110 to the power of 5. If I do that, I am getting around 0.832. 0.832 meter cube. Let's go and substitute here. Okay. If I substitute, so this will be 1 into 10 to the power of 5 into V1 is 0.832 into ln of, either I can go with V1 by V2 or directly P2 by P1. Okay. So P2 by is actually how much? It is 6 bar. So 6 divided by 1. Okay. If I do that, I am getting my isothermal work as, okay, 10 to the power of 5 into 0.832 into ln of 10 to the power of 5 into 0.832 into ln of 6. Okay, I am getting around 149. Okay, 149, yeah, divided between 10 to the power of 3. Okay, 149, this is kilojoules per second or whatever it may be. Directly I am getting the power. Okay, because this is, everything is in terms of this particular thing, so directly I am getting that particular power. So this is your isothermal work actually. Isothermal work, so kilojoules per second, whatever it may be, I can write. So kilojoules, okay, so mass flow rate is 1 kg per second, multiply it, I'll get in the power. So this is so many kilojoules per second. Now similarly, what is your case 2? So here let me find the mean effective pressure for isothermal pressure. that is P, so mean effective pressure for isothermal process. So what is it actually? So work done by your volume. What is the volume here? It is V1. Okay, it is V1. But V1 is equal to stroke volume. So your V1 is equal to stroke volume in this case because I don't have any clearance. Okay, so divided by your V1 or stroke volume. If I do that, so this is 149, okay, 0.074, that is actually into 10 to power of 3 divided by 0.832. So I'm getting around 1.79, okay, 1.79 bar, okay, 1.79 bar. This is the mean effective pressure for an isothermal process. This is the case 1. So we have found both work done as well as the mean effective pressure for the isothermal process. Now for the case 2, which is polytropic process. So polytropic process, the work done is given by, let me call it as polytropic process given by, already we have derived it, is n by n minus 1 into P1 V1 into P2 by P1 whole to the power of n minus 1 by n minus 1. Okay, now let's substitute all the values. Okay, so what are the values? N is equal to 1.3 divided by 1.3 minus 1. So P1 is 1 bar. So V1 is 0.832 into 6 by 1 whole to the power of 1.3 minus 1 by 1.3 minus 1. Okay, whole to the power of 0.3 divided by 1.3 minus 1 into 110 to the power of 5 into 0.832 into 1.3 divided by 0.3. I am getting around 184.6. Okay, work done in the polytropic, actually it is 184.62 kilojoules per second. What is the mean effective pressure for this condition? For the polytropic is equal to work done in the polytropic process divided by your V1. Once again stroke volume, that is 184.62 into 10 to the power of 3 divided by 0.832. So I am getting around 2.21, okay, 2.218 actually. So let me call it as 2.22 bar. Now, if you try to look at it actually, what we can comment, see what we can comment from this, we can comment that work done in a polytropic is greater than work done in your isothermal, which we already studied. We are able to get the improve in terms of numbers. So 184.62 is greater than your 149. Okay, even the pressure in a polytropic, I'm going to reach a higher pressure compared. So whenever I go for a higher pressure, definitely there will be an increase in the temperature also. That penalty also we need to find it. Is that clear? So work done in what we call it as polytropic process, it's greater than work done in a isothermal process. That's all. So this is also just I want to bring in the difference. That's why I took this particular problem. Is that clear? Okay, let's try to move to the next problem. The problem is something like this. Okay, a reciprocating compressor of single stage and double acting type is running at 200 rpm with a mechanical efficiency of 85%. Air flows into compressor at the rate of 5 meter cube per minute measured at atmospheric condition of 1.02 bar and 27 degrees Celsius. Okay. The compressor has compressed the air to 8 bar following the polytropic process with the index of 1.3. The compressor has a clearance volume of 5% of the stroke. That is, clearance volume is 5 by 100 or 0.05. That means your C is equal to 0.05, because if you want to find the volumetric efficiency, it is the C. Okay. During the suction of air from atmospheric into the compressor, its temperature rises by 10 degrees Celsius. Okay. There is a little bit of tricky in this particular problem. So there is a slight increase in the temperature of 10 degrees. Okay. There occurs a pressure loss of 0.03 during suction and a pressure loss of 0.05 during the discharge passage through the valves. Determine the dimensions of the cylinder, volumetric efficiency, and the power input required to drive the compressor if the stroke to bore ratio is 1.5. Okay, so this is the problem they are given. So let's try to solve this. Solution. So let's try to write the data what is given. So here they are given the atmospheric conditions. So you have to be very careful here. So consider, see, I need to, here one biggest thing actually we need to look at is actually we need to consider the losses. Okay, 0.03 bar and 0.05. So we are considering the losses at the suction and discharge. So what will happen? The actual pressure at the suction and delivery shall be under these conditions. So what we are going to get? So we are going to get under these conditions, we are supposed to solve this problem. Okay. Now atmospheric conditions. So all the things at atmosphere, that is, let me call the atmospheric conditions as PA. Okay. So PA, that is atmospheric condition, is 1.02 bar. Okay. Your PA, that is temperature of atmosphere, is 27 degrees Celsius. So 27 plus 273, it is 300 Kelvin. Then the volume of the air, that is small VA, it is 5 meter cube per minute. Okay. Now, what is the pressure at the suction? Okay. Now, what is the pressure at the suction? See that particular value, P1 is equal to, what will it be? It will be 1.02 minus 0.03 bar. Are you getting? So 1.02 minus 0.03 bar, it is 0.99 bar. Okay. Then what will be a T1? So T1 is actually, this will be 300 plus this 10 degrees. There is a, see what is happening? Your atmosphere is at 300 degrees Celsius. By the time it reaches the suction, there is a increase of 10 degrees. So 300 plus 10, this will be 310 Kelvin. Now what about for the delivery? So P2 is equal to, so they given it is actually it is 8 bar. Yeah, 8 bar following a poly. So it will be 8 plus. See, there is an increase. There is a pressure loss. So it is actually what's happening at the suction. There is a drop in the pressure. But what's happening at the delivery? So loss means actually there is an increase. So instead of, so this particular thing, sorry, this is, so a loss of, instead of compressing it to 8 bar, I am compressing it to 0.05, that is 7.95, 0.05. So it is 7.95 bar. So there is a loss of 0.03 bar on the suction and there is a loss of 0.05 bar on the suction, sorry, on the delivery. So this we have considered. So with this actually I am trying to write the values of P atmosphere, P1, P2, T1, T2, everything I have done. Now my data is fine. Now I need to calculate the other factors. Now here, see, they have given the atmospheric conditions. So I need to find the value of volume of the air at the suction. So okay, therefore the volume of the air, the volume of the air, okay, at the suction, what it is actually at point 1. So let me draw the PV diagram. You will be able to understand this. Okay, so this is my PV diagram. Okay, this is what I am trying to tell you. So this is from 1 to 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So at the point 1, what I am speaking of actually at the point 1, what is the volume of the air? So let me try to equate it. Okay. So if I try to equate it, we know that PV is equal to MRT. So V is equal to MRT divided by your corresponding P. So I am going to equate with respect to your atmospheric conditions. So I can write, so what it is actually MRT. So instead of that particular thing, I will write it as only R into T. So MR will just go off. So I will have only, so this is something like MRTA divided by, okay, this is my PA. This is with respect to your volume. So volume of the air, okay, volume of the air. So this is your volume of the air. So I need to equate that actually. So if I go by that PV is equal to MRT equation, so your volume of the air at this particular thing, already we have this we have derived it actually. This will be PA into VA divided by your TA, okay, into T1 divided by P1. Okay, so PAVA by TA into T1 by P1. If I do that, I'll be getting the volume of the air. So this is nothing but, what is your PA? It is 1.02 bar. Okay, so into what is your VA? So volume of the air at that particular point, it is 5 meter cube per minute. Okay, so that B1 also I'm going to get in terms of meter cube per minute. So divided by TA, it is 300 degree Kelvin into what is my T1? It is 310 divided by my P1 is actually it is 0.99 bar. See, 1.02 is also in terms of bar, 0.9 also in terms of bar. So 10 to the power 5 in the numerator denominator automatically that cancels. So this will be my V1. So V1 will be 5.32 meter cube per minute. Okay. Now work of, so what type of process it is actually? For a polytropic process, this is PV to the power of 1.3 is equal to constant. So for a polytropic process, for a polytropic process, PV to the power of 1.3 is equal to constant. Okay, the work of compression is given by W is equal to N by N minus 1 into P1 into V1 into P2 by P1 whole to the power of N minus 1 by N minus 1. This is for a single stage, single acting compression. Now, let's try to substitute each and every value. Your N value is 1.3. Okay, let's try to substitute it. 1.3 divided by 1.3 minus 1. So the P1 is actually it is 0.99 into 10 to the power of 5 into your V1 is actually it is 5.32 meter cube per minute. So I want this particular in terms of power or whatever it may be. So divided by 60 I am going to do. So 5.32 divided by 60 into 7.95 divided by 0.99 whole to the power of 1.3 minus 1, 1.3 minus 1. Okay, if you do it actually, I am getting roughly around 23.64 something, 64, that is 65. Okay, 23.6, so 23.58, so okay, 6. So 6 kilo watts. If you want, you can cross check this. Now, if suppose the what will be the power? So this is the work, actually, work of compression. Now, what will be the power input required? See, the power input required is equal to PIN is equal to work done by mechanical efficiency, which is given as 85%. They are given a mechanical efficiency, they are given it as 85%, given a numerical. So this will be 23.6 divided by 0.85. So I'm getting around 27.765 or 27.77. 27.77 kilowatts. This is the input power, actually. The input power is 27.77. Now, how to find the volumetric efficiency? Okay. Now, see, the volumetric efficiency I need to find with respect to your, what we call it as, see, we have the formula. So what is the formula? The volumetric efficiency. The volumetric, if this is with respect to what? This is with respect to your atmosphere or free air delivered. Okay. The volumetric efficiency is given by this formula. So the volumetric, we have already derived it. So the volumetric efficiency with respect to that particular free air delivered or something, what we call, is given by, okay, this is given by, okay, P1 into TA divided by PA into T1 into 1 plus C into 1 minus P2 by P1 whole to the power of 1 by N. This is the formula, already we have derived it. What is the value of C here? So C, they are given it is 5% of the clearance volume. So C is equal to 0.05. Now let us substitute each and every value. Okay. So P1 is equal to 0.99. So your TA is actually, it is 300 Kelvin. So P atmosphere, it is 1.02 into 310 into 1 plus 0.05 into 1 minus 7.95 divided by, okay, 7.95 divided by 0.99 whole to the power of 1 by 1.3. So I'm getting around 74.88 or something. So let me roughly take it as 75%. Okay, so I'm getting around, so 75%. This is your volumetric efficiency. A part of your problem is done. So what are the, still we have to find the diameter and the stroke length. Okay, what is the stroke volume of this particular problem, this particular thing? Okay, now if you go and see here, this particular problem, it is a single stage double acting type. So what it will be, the stroke volume per cycle will be 5 divided by 2, double acting. So that means 5 divided by 2 means it is so many, 2.5 meter cube per minute divided by speed. If I do n, I'll be getting so many meter cube per cycle. Are you getting? So if this would have been a single acting type, it will be directly 5 divided by n. Okay, I'll write that also. Okay, so this being a double acting, so for a double acting type, for a double acting type of compressor, see the stroke volume per cycle, stroke volume per cycle is given by, what is the volume flow rate, that is 5 divided by 2 into, so the speed, that is 200 rpm. So let me write that. So let me write the formula here. So this will be your V divided by, if I call the V by N. Okay, so this V actually, what is it actually? This is for single acting. It will be directly the volume given divided as V if it is single acting. Here the double acting, I have to divide it by the volume of the air delivered gets divided by 2. So if I do that, I am getting around 0.0125 meter cube per cycle. This is the stroke volume per cycle. This is the stroke volume per cycle. Then what is the, so if I consider the theory, this is the theoretical, but what will be the actual stroke volume? Okay, this is the theoretical stroke volume. So actual stroke volume. So actually the actual stroke volume will be 0.025 divided by volumetric efficiency. So the actual stroke volume, considering the volumetric efficiency. So that will be given by 0.025 divided by your volumetric efficiency, that is 0.0125 divided by point, it is actually 75%, so 0.75. So I am getting around 0.0165, so 166 actually. So 16 meter cube per cycle. So this is your actual volume, or we call this as stroke volume, that is Vs. So this we call it as Vs theoretical. This is your actual stroke volume, and this stroke volume is equal to your A into L, that is pi by 4 into d square into L. So, but in the problem they are given. So what they are telling, your stroke length is 1.5 times your d. So what I will do, I'm going to substitute that your stroke volume is equal to pi by 4 into d square into 1.5 times d. So your stroke volume is 0.0167 is equal to pi by 4 into d square. Okay, d square into d, it is d cube into 1.5. Therefore, d is equal to, so it will be a cube root of it. Okay, so 4 into 0.0167, okay, divided by pi divided by 1.5. Okay, so to the power of 1 by 3, that is cube root. So I am getting around 0.242. Okay, 0.242 meters. Okay, or 242 millimeters, or 242 millimeters. Then what will be the stroke length? So your L will be 1.5 times your 0.24. Okay, so that will be 0.363. 0.363 or 363 mm. So all the things were asked in this particular thing. Okay, it's clearly found out. So the volume you have to be very careful here. This being a double acting cylinder. If you want, we can write this formula also. V is equal to, so if here also let me write, it is the I. So it is actually, so double acting I into, it is N into volume per cycle, whatever it may be. So this we have to, this is the kind of formula where if you try to do that. Okay, the volume per cycle, the volume what is given. So volume per cycle into speed into number of cylinders or number of maybe what type of acting, it's a double acting or something. If you do that, you will be getting that. And C is the ratio of clearance volume to your stroke volume. Is that clear? Any doubts? You can unmute and speak if there are any doubts. There are no doubts, we can move to the next problem. Maybe this will be the last problem. Okay, fine. So let's try to take up the next problem. It's something like this. In a reciprocating air compressor, the air is compressed at the rate of 4 meter cube per minute at 1 bar and 27 degrees Celsius up to the pressure of 8 bar following the index of compression as 1.2. The compression occurs in two stages with intercooling. Okay, the compression occurs in two stages with intercooling at optimum intercooler pressure and perfect intercooling. Compare the work input required if the same compression occurs in single stage. Okay. Also, compare the work input if the same compression occurs in two stages with imperfect cooling up to 30 degrees Celsius at the optimum intercooling pressure. Consider Cp is equal to 1.0032 kilojoules per kg degree Kelvin and R is equal to 0.287 kilojoules per degree Kelvin. So what I have taken is I have taken two different problems. I have combined and made it as a one particular problem. So here I have two things. One is multi-staging compression with intercooling. Okay, with perfect intercooling. And the second thing is actually what will happen if I do the same thing using a single stage. Okay. Now the third thing is actually what will happen if I go for a multi-staging without intercooling. So three different cases we have to solve and try to compare the work done conditions. So which will be more, which will be less. Okay. Let's try to solve this particular problem. Okay. For each thing, I will try to draw a separate PV diagram. First with a multi-staging with intercooling, then single stage without single stage, then multi-stage without intercooling or imperfect cooling. Let me write the data. Solution. So what is the data that is given? So they are given, it is a volume that is V1 is equal to 4 meter cube per minute. Okay. And P1 is equal to 1 bar and T1 is 27 degrees Celsius, 27 plus 273, it is 300 Kelvin. And so this is actually, I am trying to have a two stage. So it is not P2, this will be P3. So P3 is equal to 8 bar and the index of compression is 1.2 here. Instead of 1.3, it is 1.2. So Cp is equal to 1.0032 kilojoules per kg degree Kelvin and R is equal to 0.287 kilojoules per kg degree Kelvin. Now, see, for multi-staging without intercooling, okay, they are given a condition for the third case. For the third case, a multi-stage, that is, what will be the value of T2? So now, if I try to tell that I will be getting some value, okay, so this will be T1 plus 30 degrees. Okay, if I go for a perfect cooling, when I cool it, I will be getting the inlet temperature. So I will be cool to inlet temperature. That is T1. Intermediate temperature will be this thing. But here what will happen when I go for that is T2 will be equal to T1 for a perfect cooling. If there is a imperfect intercooling, what will happen? Your T2 will be equal to T1 plus 30. It will be more than that actually. I will take for that particular condition. When I come to the case 3, I will take that. So that data is given here. So first case. So case 1. Case 1. So multi-stage with intercooling. With a perfect intercooling. So what will be the PV diagram for this? So this is a two stage actually. So I'm going to draw this. This is my PV diagram. So first stage. Okay. So I'm going to compress it. Okay. Then So this is your first stage compression. Then I'll be going to the second stage compression. Okay, if I don't follow the perfect cooling, this is the path what I'm going to follow. If I go for a perfect cooling, I'm going to, if I call this as 1, it will go to 2, then it will go to 2 dash, then I'm going to go to 3. So if I follow a perfect cooling, this is the work I'm going to save. Okay, this will be from P1 to P2 and P3. So this is the work saved due to cooling. And this is according to the process PV to power of n is equal to constant. This is also according to PV to power of n is equal to constant, because I am trying to go with this particular thing. So we know that we have derived it for a perfect cooling. Okay, for a perfect intercooling, this we have derived for a perfect intercooling. P2 by P1 is equal to P3 by P2, or I can tell P2 is equal to square root of P1 into P3. Okay, that is 1 into 8, square root of 8. So it is around 2.8 bar. 2.83. Okay, so your P2 is equal to 2.828, that is, so 83 bar. So this is my perfect intercooling pressure in between. So P2 is equal to 2.83. Now for this condition, what is the minimum work actually? What is the work done for this kind of work actually? So work done is given by your I, that is how many number of stages? I into P1 V1. I'm going to use a general formula into, okay, I'm going to use, this is actually P3 by P1 into n minus 1 by n. Okay, that is Pi by Pn. Use that formula. So more generalized, Pi by P1 into I into n minus 1. So this is the formula. Okay, sorry, n minus 1 I left out. Okay, I have left out n minus 1. Use I into, okay, n by n minus 1. So this is the formula. I into n by n minus 1 into P1 V1 into Pi by P1. So here I is actually I is equal to 2. Here this is for a 2 stage, I is equal to 2. So let me substitute that. So work is given by 2 into 1.2 divided by 1.2 minus 1 into your P1 is actually, it is 1 bar, that is 1 into 10 to the power of 5. So V1 they are given, it is 5. So it is 4 meter cube per minute actually. So it is be 4 by 60. 4 by 60 into, okay, Pi actually it is 8. So I is equal to 3, that is P3. 8 by 1 whole to the power of 1.2 minus 1 divided by 1.2 minus 1. So I am getting my W as 15.12118 or something. So 12 kilowatts. Okay. So what else we are supposed to find? We are supposed to find the compare the work input. Compare the work input. So I need to find the if I want I can find the mass flow rate also. Okay. If I want I can find the mass flow rate also. So the mass flow rate is given by, so P1 V1. See, the mass flow rate is given by P1 V1 is equal to MRT1. Okay. So your M is equal to P1 V1 by R into T1. So P1 is actually, it is 1 into 10 to the power of 5. Your mass flow rate is, so V1 is 4 divided by, this is 0.287 into 10 to the power of 3 into T1 is 300 degree Kelvin. So I am getting around 4.65 kg per minute mass flow rate, m dot. Okay, m dot is given by 4.65 kg per minute. Okay, this is about your multi-stage with intercooling. Now for case 2, okay, it is single stage compression. Single stage compression. Single stage compression. What is actually? So the same thing I'm going to achieve using a single stage. That is the 8 bar. I'm going to compress it to 8 bar using a single stage. Okay. This is my PV diagram for that. So I'm going to go from to 1 to compress to 2, then to 3. Okay. I'm going to compress it. This is according to PV to the power of 1.2 is equal to constant. Now we know that formula for this particular thing. W is given by, for a single stage compression, your W is equal to N by N minus 1, N by N minus 1, okay, P1 V1 into, this is P3 by P1 whole to the power of N minus 1 by N minus 1. So if we call this as P2, so for this condition, it is P2 is equal to your P3 because it is 8 bar for a single stage. There is no P3 here. So directly it is P2. Directly I am compressing from, if you want, you can put instead of 1 to 2, instead of 1 to 3. Okay, this is what I am trying to do here. Okay, so I can use, for this condition, P2 is equal to 8 bar. So 1.2 divided by 1.2 minus 1 into 1 into 10 to the power of 5 into 4 divided by 60 into 8 by 1 whole to the power of 1.2 minus 1 divided by 1.2 minus 1. So this is the work done in the single stage. Okay, so if I do that, I am getting around 16.57 kilowatts. I'm getting around 16.57 kilowatts. Now case 3. Case 3, multi-stage without intercooling, or we can call it as imperfect cooling. That means I am not going to cool it. So for this condition, how my PV diagram will look like? The PV diagram will be something like this. So I'll copy the same thing and paste it over here. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to remove this. Okay, I'm not going to save any work. So this is a compression which is just simply according to PV to the power of n. There is no 2 dash, all those things and all. So there is only one compression from 1 to 2 and without intercooling from 2 to 3. So what will happen here? I need to add work in first stage. So if this is my first stage and this is my second stage, work done in first stage, then work done in second stage, I need to add separately. Okay, then in that case, what is the value of C? In that case, what will happen? Intermediate, I have the volume. Okay, so P1C, the formula will be something like this. See, the work done condition for this is actually work is equal to work done in first stage plus work done in second stage. So the formula will be something like this. So W is equal to N by N minus 1. So whatever it may be. Okay, N by N minus 1 into P1 V1, okay, into P2 by P1 whole to the power of N minus 1 by N minus 1 plus N by N minus 1 P2 V2 into P3 by P2 whole to the power of N minus 1 by N minus 1. So both the stages I need to add separately. In your P1, V1 I know. What is the value of V2? I can get it directly from your P2 V2 is equal to MRT2, that particular formula. So what is the value of P2 here? See, P2, they are telling that if I try to have the, see, what is happening here? See, T2 will be 30 degrees more than your T1. Okay, 30 degrees more than your T1. So T1 is, if for a perfect intercooling, what's happening? Your intermediate temperature T2 will be equal to your T1. But for an imperfect cooling, this will be T2 will be equal to T1 plus 30. Okay, so T1 is 27 degrees Celsius plus 20, so plus 30 degrees, it's 57 degrees Celsius. Okay, so this will be 330 degree Kelvin. Okay, for this condition, so your T2 is equal to T1 plus 30, that is 300 plus 30, that is 330 Kelvin. But your P2 is still, it is 2.82 bar. 82, no? Yes, 2.83. So, but my optimum pressure is maintained. This is my optimum pressure. The pressure is still the same, but my temperature is increased to 330 degrees Celsius. So for this condition, I'm going to use this. P2 V2 is equal to MR T2. So what is your M? 4.65. So this will be 2.83 into 10 to the power of 5 into your V2 is equal to 4.65, okay, into 0.287 into 10 to the power of 3 into 330 degree Kelvin. If I do that, I am going to get my V2, which is 1.57 meter cube per minute. Okay, I got my value of V2, 1.56 something, so I'm rounding up to 2 decimal 1.57. Now let us try to substitute this in my equation. W is equal to 1.2 divided by 1.2 minus 1 into P1 is 1 into 10 to the power of 5 into your V1 is 4 by 60, okay, 4 divided by 60 into, so your P2 is actually 2.83 divided by 1 whole to the power of 1.2 minus 1 divided by 1.2 minus 1. This is for first stage. Then for the second stage, it is 1.2 divided by 1.2 minus 1 into, so P2 is actually 2.83 into 10 to the power of 5 into 10 to the power of 5 into 1.57 divided by 60 into, it is, so 8 divided by 2.83 whole to the power of 1.2 minus 1 divided by 1.2 minus 1. So if I add both actually, so this will be less than your single stage. I am getting somewhere around 15.9 change or something. So 15.9 kilowatts. This is with an intercooling. It is without intercooling. Now if I try to compare this, see, your 16.57 is greater than 15.9, which is greater than your multi-stage without intercooling. What we have studied? We have studied that single stage compression will take or require more amount of work compared to multi-staging. When I go for multi-staging, when I go for without intercooling, it will take more amount of work compared to multi-staging with intercooling. Okay, what I can tell here, I can write a comment. So work done in a single stage is greater than, okay, work done in a multi-stage without intercooling, which is greater than work done in multi-stage with intercooling. Okay, that is 16.57 kilowatts is greater than 15.9 kilowatts, which is greater than 15.12 kilowatts. Okay, now if I try to go in terms of percentage, okay, what is the percentage I am trying to save here? Okay, so what is the percentage actually? 16 point, if it roughly around 4 to 5% or 8 to 10%, something like that, we are going to save. We are going to save in terms of power. Okay, in terms of power, so difference of this particular thing, if I take 16.57 by 15 divided by 16, I am getting around roughly around 4%. If I go with respect to multi-stage with intercooling, I'll be roughly saving around 8 to 9%. So that is the amount of power saving which we are going to do when we go for multi-staging with intercooling.